Hello, hello. Welcome back to Undefined, episode 2, a podcast where we detail our early engineering journeys in order to help you navigate your own. Today, we're going to be talking about internships, pretty much deep diving to that subject, how we secured ours, what we learned, what you can take from the classroom that'll benefit you in the industry. So I got my brother here with me today again, and let's dive right into it. Patrick, you want to list some of your experience?
Well, the only real engineering internship I've had was last summer with aerospace company here in San Antonio. It was kind of like a manufacturing. So I worked on like a manufacturing line plant kind of thing.
What company?
Standard Aero.
Oh,
So
sweet.
it's a smaller company. It kind of they work with companies like Boeing and stuff, and they kind of send their engines and stuff to get maintained and rehauled over there. So that's kind of the only thing I've done.
Nice. Well, my internship experience is pretty broad. I've had 3 pretty big internships throughout my undergrad career. My first one was with GE Appliances as a quality engineer intern. After that, I interned with Boeing, also as a quality engineer intern. And then my last internship experience throughout undergrad was with Toyota as an assembly engineering intern. So, we're going to go through how we got those positions and kind of what
so
we
much
did.
Cooler than
Sorry,
mine.
you're still going through it. You have
Yeah, I
time.
know.
You have time. You can grab and tell them about your upcoming one.
Oh yeah, in a few days I'm leaving to Michigan actually to go intern at GM. So hopefully I learn even more stuff about.
Oh, dude, you're gonna learn a lot. Manufacturing is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, that's a little bit about our experience. Now we're gonna go right into pretty much why you should get an internship while you're going through your undergrad career. So why would you get an internship? When you graduate, I'm not sure if you all know this, but finding a job is pretty tough, even when you do have internships. But getting this industry experience is going to put you leaps and bounds ahead of people who don't have it. So that's pretty much why you'd want to get an internship, to gain those skills and get your foot in the door for when you graduate. So let's go into securing internships.
All right.
Yeah. So throughout our experience, I'm sure a lot of you watching have an application called Handshake through your school, where you can set up pretty much any type of virtual or in-person career fair, and that's something we highly recommend. Career fairs.
Yeah, because that's when you get like your first, like you can meet with actual companies for the very first time, talk to them about what they want to see in students, what they look for in interviews and stuff, and kind of just see what companies interest you at all. Because at first, I know going into engineering, it's hard to know where you want to go, especially starting out. So that's kind of a good way to get an introduction into the field that you're going to want to go in.
For sure. And I know me personally, when I first started college, I kind of shied away from career fairs because I thought every student in the school was going to these things, and there was like no way you'd be able to get anything. But these companies take the time out to talk to you, and you have a really good chance. You just got to be personable, tell them what you have to offer, and it's pretty easy to start talking to these recruiters.
Yeah, they have a lot of like time set aside to talk to you.
Yeah,
because I was surprised when I signed up. They have like group sessions where there'd be bigger groups so they can talk, but they also have like one-on-one sessions to where you could talk to someone directly for 15, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. And not a lot of people sign up, because when I would go sign up, there'd be so many open slots.
Every career fair I've been to, there have been so many open spots, open time sessions. So yeah, definitely take advantage of those career fairs, because those are the easiest way to get your foot into the door at a company. And going on to that, once you grab these sessions, you got to know what to say. Like you got to build your little elevator pitch, right? Like a little a 20-second introduction.
Yeah, you can't just meet with them and not say anything. Just be a bystander. You got to talk to them and engage with them.
Oh, for sure. Research the company going into it. If you know the company's culture and values, that's something you can bring up in your interview. You can tell them why you're interested in that company in particular. And you could even list courses that you've taken throughout your undergrad career that directly contribute in your interest to the company as well. And I know that's something I did, and that's something that really it kind of gets the recruiters happy and excited to see that you actually take an interest in their company as well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're there to get talent. They don't just want to come tell you about the company and leave. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely more of a casual thing. Like you can prepare for it, but it's not like an interview.
No, it's not.
So you don't have to stress about it like that. It's literally just talking to someone. But yeah, you got to think of you got to engage with them because they're there all day meeting with kids who probably don't engage at all. So they're going to remember kids that are ready and prepared to talk to them when they go in the one-on-one sessions.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Oh, excuse me. So, going into these career fairs, like what's something that you found that you had a preconception of that ended up not being true going into it?
Career fairs, I just thought it would be more like I don't know, because ours were online because of COVID. I know they used to have them in person, but from the online experience, I thought it would just be way more crowded. I wouldn't be able to get a word in and ask any questions. But it ended up being a lot more personable and just close. Like one-on-ones I didn't expect that to be a thing. So I was really surprised that they had so much time to listen to me and talk to me. I think was the biggest thing.
Definitely way more relaxed than I thought it would be, for sure.
Yeah.
Considering everybody's wearing suits, and for me, a lot of it was in person. Everybody's wearing suits, trying to look as professional as they can be. But all these recruiters are super personable. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, after you make a good impression with the recruiter at a career fair, they may actually ask you to schedule an interview right there on the spot. So if you're lucky enough to get that, I guess we could go into the process of what it's like to start interviewing with some of these companies that you meet. Do you want to go through a little bit of what your experience with General Motors was like?
Yeah. So I applied on their website through their career website, whatever. And they basically emailed me and were like, okay, you're ready for the first round of interviews on HireVue. And if you don't know what that is, it's like you don't talk to an actual person. It's like a recorded interview. Like it asks you questions and you answer them. You have 3 attempts to answer them. So you don't actually meet with an actual person. But that's the first round. And you do like a little game. I know you did it. It's like you do like a game.
Like a little brain game.
A brain game quiz to test you. So it's not very stressful because you get a few attempts to do it. And you're by yourself, you're not with anyone, but that's the first round. And if you get past that, then it's kind of like they do the actual person interview. And the HireVue is more behavioral questions.
It's like the STAR format. They want you to answer in
they want you to answer in the STAR format, like we mentioned in the last podcast.
Yeah, I think the last podcast might have cut out before we were able to mention STAR, but STAR is situation, task, action, result. So you want to state your situation, the task you were doing, the action you did to solve whatever it is you were working on, and the result, the overall result of what you did. So it's pretty, like you said last time, it's pretty common, a little common sense, but
just
sometimes people get lost with the rambling when they're talking.
Like cutting out the fluff. They want you to get straight to the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the HireVue was easy because it was behavioral questions. Like, what would you do in this scenario? What would you do in this? And it's easy if you prepare for it and know the situations that you're going to talk about. The in-person interview, because I had an internship before, it was a little more technical. They asked me what I did in my last internship and stuff, and just how I would lead a team, how I would go about solving problems. But it wasn't too bad. It was just I just had 2 rounds interviews, one in person, one recorded. And
the interview process, was it very personable, or was it kind of cutthroat?
No, it was because this part also got cut off probably, but when you talked about your full-time interviews and how they were stone-faced,
a little bit more cutthroat.
Yeah, no, they were super nice. When I talked to them, they were just really looked interested in what I had to say. They were when I answered, they're like, "Oh, what a great answer."
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a stressful leading up to it, but once you're in it, they were super nice.
Yeah. So definitely don't need to stress as much as you thought you did. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I always stress way more than at the end of it, I'm like, wow, I stressed way more than I should have.
Yeah.
About that. It's interviewing is stressful, but it's a good experience. Like I always get at the end of it, I'm like, I'm glad that was fun. Just talking about that stuff and meeting people.
Yeah. And you said you got this internship experience, or this interview through applying through their career site. So you didn't necessarily get it through the career fair, but you did meet someone at the career fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So My freshman year, I went to my first career fair. I wasn't originally going to go, but you told me that it's a good thing to do, and I'm glad I did. So I met with GM. I talked to them, and I really liked what they had to say about the company. I like the people I talked to. So it just gave me a strong interest in GM. So right after that, I applied every year. I got rejected because I had no experience yet. But this year, thankfully, I finally got an interview. So yeah, the career fair definitely guided me to where I wanted to go. I found the company that I wanted to internship at, which I think is a major point for career fairs in general.
And you kept in contact with that recruiter?
Yeah, I added them on LinkedIn, and then I talked to them for a few months. And when I applied, I actually used him as a reference, which is great. If you have a reference, that's a foot in the door even more, because like they know that you know someone at the company, so they're gonna give you a chance.
Yeah, that's definitely huge. And I know I have a similar experience to that. When I listed my previous internship experience, I know I listed GE Appliances and Boeing and Toyota, but Toyota was actually the first one I ever tried to get into. The first time I tried to get into the Toyota internship experience, I didn't have the GPA to kind of meet their threshold. I had to work on it a little bit, but the recruiter that I talked to, she was very nice. She saw that I was working while I was in college, and that I really, really wanted to be a part of the company. And when these recruiters see that you actually want to be a part of their company, they'll extend a hand, and they'll keep in contact with you, which is exactly what she did. As I got my next few internship experiences with GE Appliances and Boeing, I kept in constant contact with that Toyota recruiter until eventually I was able to join the Toyota team. And I think this was like a 2-year process throughout my undergrad, where I was constantly just keeping in touch with this recruiter and sending little updates. So yeah, building these personal relationships with these recruiters will definitely benefit you in the long run, because it sure benefited me. That's probably the only reason I got this Toyota internship. So yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, career fairs are the number one way to start building a relationship with those people.
But they're not the only way.
No, not the only way.
So networking sites like LinkedIn, I know they don't get touched on enough while we're in school. Your professors will tell you you want to go apply to these big companies, but they don't tell you exactly how to market yourself or get to where you want to be. And I know LinkedIn is a huge resource that can be used for students.
It is huge. And it's not utilized enough, because I know so many people that do not have a LinkedIn account.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'll be pretty tough to grab an internship or anything like that without a networking site, a networking platform like that to market yourself. And you can definitely tell people who put in time on their networking sites rather than people who will just make an account and then submit one-click applications to everywhere.
Yeah, because that's actually, LinkedIn is how I found my first internship. Mm-hmm. Just using their job search tool. Just applying to all those internships. Yeah, so LinkedIn isn't just like for like marketing and connecting. It's also for finding internships and jobs. So it's you need a LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn
for sure. Yeah, that's how pretty much all my other internships, like GE Appliances. Well, GE Appliances I got through a virtual career fair, so another shout out to career fairs. But Boeing, I actually applied to the company, reached out to the recruiters that I saw that were involved with that application process, and basically gave them a little introduction to myself, and didn't ask for the job, but just told them some of the skills I had, why the position interested me, and what I could do to benefit the company. So yeah, definitely LinkedIn helped me with that one big time. And I was actually able to interview with one of the people I reached out to on LinkedIn. So that was huge.
Yeah. I think career fairs are like I said before, they're really good for picking out specific companies you want to work for. And that's good because each company has their own website, right? Mm-hmm. They have their own careers website. So when you talk to people in career fairs, you find what companies you like, and you can go to their specific website because you want to work for them. You want to try to work for them and apply. But LinkedIn is great because it has a list of every company that's looking for interns. So that's kind of a good resource to just be like, even if you don't know what to do yet, well, you haven't been to a career fair, it's a good place to go to just see all the people looking for interns.
Oh yeah, definitely. And one thing you got to have ready before you start looking at all these places, your resume needs to be pretty
Yeah.
refined.
Yeah.
So how would you say you have your resume split up? I know my resume personally, I have it where my school is listed at the top, my GPA, I have skills bullet pointed underneath that. So I have it by GPA, skills, business experience. And at the time of grabbing my first internship experience, I really didn't have that much business experience besides serving full time. Project experience and volunteer experience. Would you say yours is pretty similar?
Yeah. Before I used like a basic Google form resume template, and I wasn't getting as much email back from people I was applying to as much. So I asked you how you formatted your resume, and I basically copied it. I just put my stuff on, and it got a lot more attention after I did that. I formatted it like yours. So like formatting is a big deal, because I know when you submit your resume, it's a lot of like automation, like a system reads your resume, finds keywords like, okay, this person has potential, call him or something. So if you don't have it formatted the right way, the system isn't going to read your resume the same.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's very easy to read and find those keywords.
Is there a way we can like
I'm
put a
gonna
link or something?
I'll put a little snip of my resume into this podcast to show people.
Yeah, because because when you look up resumes, it's a basic template, but the basic templates work the best. So yeah, you don't want it too complex.
For sure. And another big thing, as you're like looking for these internships, don't close off to exactly what you're like. Some people go into looking for a job trying to find that perfect position right off the bat. You want to be open-minded, because I know my first couple internships were for quality engineering positions, and at the time I had no interest in quality engineering. But as I went through these internship experiences, I found that quality engineering was some of the funnest work that I worked on throughout my entire experience. So yeah, definitely be open-minded. Don't close off opportunities just because it doesn't look like it's something you'd like right off the bat. Give it a try. That's what college is for, trying to find what you want to do after you graduate. So definitely be open-minded in the process.
Because I think going into it, like, I want to work for this company doing this, like I want to be a specific thing, just sets yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get that internship or job right away, you're gonna close yourself off from other opportunities that otherwise you might like if you tried it. Like when I went to college, I had no interest in manufacturing. And my last internship, I loved it. I loved doing it. So I never would have done that if I had like a set mind that I wanted to be a design engineer or something.
Yeah. So what were some of the types of projects you worked for Standard Era?
So my internship was over the summer, so about 2.5 months. And I had 2 projects. So I had one that was like kind of like a research and design project.
What was your title?
Just engineering intern.
Oh.
Just general engineering. But I would say I was on the manufacturing floor a lot. But I had a research and design project where it was something I've never really done before. It was a lot of statistics and analyzation. It was like, it's a little complex, but like turbine blades, they have like a little coating on them. And I basically analyzed if their processes was degrading the coating on the turbine blades.
Oh,
so
nice.
It was a lot of like data entry. And then I had another one where it was more like typical engineering, where I designed something. I designed like a fixture to hold turbine blades while they were being cleaned. Yeah. So that was a little more like what I learned in school directly applied to that, like the CAD design and all that stuff.
Nice. And you learned SolidWorks in school, right?
Yeah, SolidWorks I learned in school, but I actually used Autodesk Inventor, which is another CAD software. But having that experience in SolidWorks definitely helped.
So you found out that it translated pretty easily. If you knew one CAD software, it was very easy to learn another.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend, if you're in college, learn a CAD software. Not even learn it thoroughly, just learn the basics of it. And then any other CAD software you'll be able to learn in honestly, like a day. Nice. It translates so easily.
Nice. And would you say you did a lot of the projects independently, or did you work with teams to accomplish what you were doing?
See, my favorite part about my internship was that I was by myself the whole time. Like really? I had a mentor that I can ask questions, but it was my job to finish the projects and do what I need to do. So like I had to go. So we had it was a big manufacturing facility. And there's a little office for the engineers. So we had a little office space. And then right when you leave, it was a big manufacturing floor with like all the technicians and stuff. And for me, going into it, I was super nervous to like go up to these 35-year-old technicians with all this experience, be like, hey, I need your help to find out how I need to do this or who I need to go to solve this. But it was a great experience because I had to learn how to do everything myself and how to not rely on other people to get things done. I think that's the biggest thing I had to learn, was just not waiting on other people, like going out and doing it myself, or making sure people
And like getting
got
that
things
information you needed from other people as
Yes,
well when
yeah.
you really needed it.
Yeah.
You can't just wait. Yeah. That was a big thing for me too. I know my quality engineering role with GE Appliances, that was a big individual type of work setting for me. I worked on like root cause analysis for field failure issues for like washing machines, dryers, and refrigerators. So basically, when an appliance would fail in the field, it would come back to headquarters, and it would be my job to figure out why it failed. I thought it was very cool because they kind of threw you in, and they were like, "Hey, break down this fridge, figure out what was wrong." Even if you have no idea what you were doing, they're just like, "Get started. You'll learn it as you go." And it's true. On the job training is very effective. I learned it as I went through trial and error and figuring all that stuff out. But along with that, I did a lot of like data analyzation. So quality engineering, it's a lot of root cause analysis and data analyzation, and then presenting your findings to like upper management or executives. So bigger projects for process improvements can be made. And some key things I learned in that GE Appliance internship, it's like defect reduction, Pareto analyzation. That's a big one. It's a series of it's basically a bar graph that separates things from the highest recurring to the lowest recurring. And you could separate that by number of defects. You could separate it by cost. Usually you definitely want to focus on cost in these situations because companies are trying to save cost. So that was something big that I learned while I was there. And after that, I took that into Boeing. So I took exactly what I learned at GE Appliances into Boeing, and it pretty much kickstarted me in that internship process because they didn't really have to train me in the data analyzation side of things. I knew how to work pivot tables from my time at GE Appliances and work with big spreadsheets of data to find what pinpoint areas for process improvement. So that was pretty cool.
So that sounds like a lot. So I think it's important to note that you didn't know all that stuff going into it. Like you learned it on the job, right?
Yeah. Like 75, 80, maybe even 85% of the stuff that I used in my internship experiences was learned at the internship. There wasn't really a lot of practical technical knowledge instilled through me in school that I used.
Yeah. And I think that's why internships are valued so much when you're looking for full-time positions, because it's this, like, it relates to what you're learning in school, but it's like learning the same thing but from a completely different angle, like in the terms of like economics and stuff like that. So it's internships are invaluable, especially when you're graduating, because I learned so much that I would not have just from one internship. I've learned a lot just that I would not have learned just being in school.
Oh, definitely. And what's your role coming into GM?
So my title is manufacturing engineering intern. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing yet, but I'm assuming I'm going to be on the floor running a project or helping out. Because I do have a group chat with all the other interns there, and some of them have already started. And they said they were given a project and they kind of just go off and do their own thing and solve it, kind of like my last internship. So I'm kind of excited. But yeah, it's I think I'm in Lansing. So at that plant, they make like the Chevy Transverse SUVs and stuff. So I'm pretty excited because I wanted to get into the car manufacturing space. So I'm excited to see how all of it works and just see the manufacturing facility.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of advice on the car manufacturing thing. So my internship with Toyota was here in San Antonio. And at this manufacturing plant, they manufacture the Toyota Tundra and the Toyota Sequoia. The Sequoia is in pilot production right now. So it hasn't actually, they actually might have started, it's June. They might have started fully manufacturing the Sequoia. But it's a whole different experience, a whole different ball game from what I experienced before. So these automobile manufacturing companies, they have manufacturing down to a T. Like Toyota runs very lean. Mm-hmm. They remove waste. They always focus on continuous improvement. But in order to accomplish a lot of the goals that they set, you're going to have to work with a lot of cross-functional teams. And that's something that was a new experience for me at Toyota, because a lot of the projects you're going to be working on, you're not going to be able to solve it by yourself. You're going to have to go to the quality engineering team. You're going to have to go onto the floor to the group managers and the team leads. You're going to have to work with your machine shop team. So like when you design I'm sure you're going to be designing like jigs for like support systems and stuff like that on the assembly line. And in order to do that, you're not going to just be able to design something and go, all right, I'm going to go implement it and see how it works. You're going to have to actually work with the people on the line and see what they think. So every time, my advice for you, anytime you think of a solution, go directly to where the problem is occurring and talk to the people around it that work on that spot and say, hey, do you think this would be a good idea? Or what would you improve if you wanted a more efficient process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was one of the biggest things, the biggest problems I heard just talking to technicians at my last internship. And they love the engineers at where I was working, Standard Air. They love them. But then the biggest complaint was that they would try to make improvements in the process lines that just didn't make sense for the technicians or made their job harder. Yeah. So it's actually slowed it down. So yeah, I think that's a big thing I'm gonna have to do, is just making sure you know the people that are gonna be affected by your decision and know what they want and get their opinions on it and stuff.
For sure. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing right there. And we are coming up on the 2-minute mark. So
not much time.
Yeah, not much time. I think we should probably wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for joining us today. This has been episode 2 of Undefined. Hope you've enjoyed listening to the internship tips that we've given you throughout this podcast. And we hope to see y'all soon. Thank you.